Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Cubs lose 8-7 in 10 innings and 3 out of 4 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, Ryan Herrera. As we wrap up the Pittsburgh series, another ugly one for the Cubs. 3 out of 4 to Pittsburgh. And, I don't even know where to start on this one. I mean, the 10th inning was big. The comeback was big. VR, something to talk about. I mean, let's just start with the 10th inning real quick. I thought Patrick Wisdom was safe at home. I mean, I don't know if it really matters in the grand scheme of things, but I thought he was safe at the plate. I don't know how that call was upheld because it looked like to me he was clearly safe.
Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. I don't really understand the rule for blocking the plate.
Yeah.
That's such a weird rule in a way. I've seen it go against the Cubs and go for the Cubs. That's not really what bothers me of how that went down. It's more of I thought Wisdom got his foot in too. Weirdly enough, though, I'm just not really I'm mad, but I'm not even mad because the guys in New York don't know how to do their jobs. I'm not even mad about that. I'm more mad about other stuff. It is what it is. This game shouldn't have gone to extra innings. Both teams stink. The Pirates blew it. The Cubs gave away runs that they shouldn't have. It's just this game's stupid. It was stupid. That's the best way I can put it for you.
Cubs 2-6 in extra innings now, so that's great. And 18 games under 500. Is that right? 18 under 500.
I made 18 ice cream cones.
Not even July yet. I finished off the cake pops. That's what I had to do. Once they tied it with the home run, I finished the final cake pop that I had in the house, and that was my misery eat.
Well, at least Rachel's here.
Yeah, we got Rachel. I thought he was safe, right? Wisdom. Yeah. I thought he got his foot under there, but then I guess I don't understand because the blocking rules have changed over time too, and so it looked. It was the one thing is I wish we got more of an explanation on what they saw. Maybe there's maybe there's a time to do a pool report with an umpire, just to see what was really I guess it's also not even the umpire's call at that point. It's in New York, so the umpire probably doesn't have the best, probably isn't the best person to ask about the thought process. I don't know. He looked safe to me. Then I think right there at the end, it looked like Wilson extremely blocked the plate. I think Hayes looked fine after that, a little shaken up on the slide. But the rules confuse me all the time. We don't always get a good explanation on what exactly is.
Again, I just I've gotten mad about the guys in New York who don't know how to do their jobs and the umpires, but this is just one of those where it shouldn't even came down to this. It really shouldn't have. I mean, I'm just more mad about the Cubs once again blowing a lead, once again reeling me back in after I conceded. I was ready. I was counting down the minutes to see if we were going to get this started at a Stucky time frame, and no chance. And that's how sad it is at this point for me, guys. That's just how sad it is that I'm not even bothered by it. I'm more bothered by just all the dumb baseball plays. I mean, Jonathan Villar, man, I couldn't even wait 5 minutes. Jonathan Villar sucks at defense.
Can't do it.
Just to put it bluntly, he sucks at defense. He really sucks at defense. And I hate trashing on players in a certain way like that, just to bluntly say they're bad at something because they're major league ball players. And I'm just a dude sitting at my 900-foot square apartment talking into a mic about that person. But how much do we have to see this guy play defense anymore? Luke said it the other night, man. It's so bad that they should just DH him if they're gonna play him. When David Bodie comes back, I don't see how VR has any value. I can joke about it all I want every time he gets a hit or something, but this guy just has no value. I don't think anyone wants him. Just bring Bodie back and just just drop him, DFA him, whatever. That's how I feel about it. Like 2 plays today, and the reason I'm more mad about it is because it just made Justin Steele's line look worse than what it was. He had another great outing today, and if you look at the box score, it shows that he didn't. Now that 5th inning, yeah, he got in some trouble there, and that was mainly on him. But the first 4 innings, he was pretty good, and it's just like, who knows how that game goes if you just get the defense. You know what I mean? And it's just those good teams that we got to watch in the past with the Cubs. Maybe it's just me, but maybe I took for granted how good defensively they were. Like, you didn't have to worry about your guys up the middle. You always knew Javi, and you know, before Addison Russell turned into a scumbag, like, you always knew you got some solid defense out of him. And Rizzo and even Bryant was solid at a solid third baseman. Like it's just like the incompetency from some of the play today is just like frustrating. It's so frustrating because it's the Pirates. It's the Pirates. Like, if we're playing like the Braves or something and you get this, fine, whatever. It's just it's embarrassing, but whatever. You're losing to a good team, but you lose 3 or 4 of the Pirates, and you just honestly, they made the Pirates look better than what they are this entire series. They really did. And to lose 3 or 4 of this team, I don't care, 18 games under 500 or not, is just embarrassing. It's a disgrace. It's stupid. And to give the defense that they did today for an up and coming young pitcher like they have and make him throw extra pitches, he could have gone
4
deep
errors.
In the game. Yeah, 4 errors. You know what I mean? Like, he probably could have gone 7 today if he didn't have to throw extra pitches because of the errors. Like, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad.
3 of the first 4 runs the Pirates scored were Villar's fault because of misplays. And I said it last night in game 3 of the series. You know, he had an error there and Keegan Thompson pitched his way out of it. But it's, again, at this point, I don't blame Jonathan Villar. This is on the franchise. This is either on Ross or Hoyer, whoever's deciding that he has to be in the lineup. Stop telling me it's because of injuries, because you could literally bring anybody up. The man has the yips. He can't field the ball. He's had him all season, right? He's had him basically since that cold game against the Rays, and it's gone downhill from there. These aren't difficult ground balls that he's like diving and it's going off his glove. They're routine ground balls that he can't pick up. It's in his head. I feel bad for the guy. They keep putting him out in the field, and the fan base is furious at him. And I understand that he's a major league player, but he's not trying to do this. And the fact that they're putting him out there, stop it. There's no trade value. If you get a guy for VR, I will fall over and pass out if you get a trade value for
an actual human, not like a bucket of balls or a new washing machine. We're talking about an actual baseball player.
If there's the tiniest little trade value out there for Jonathan Villar right now, if there's anything left, the worst thing you can do for that is continue to put him in the field, because every time he boots the ball, any team that would be dumb enough to be like, "Yep, that's the guy we need for the playoff run," is going to look at that and just be like, no, I'm not taking him.
It's not even just
Emily says that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Emily Bartikoski, I think that's how you say it. She said, why are they not playing Morel at second, Hayward, if they insist on playing him in center, and Velasquez in right? Get VR off the damn field. I mean, if I had to
choose the lesser of the evils, yes.
I wonder if they like Morel in center and want to keep him out in center. And that's maybe why they have. But he has the ability to play second base. He's played it already this year. So yeah, I mean, like VR, another error is just he's just not been a good defender this year. You can't spin that anyway. Cody can't spin zone this one. Like, he hasn't been good.
There's no spin zone, bro.
He hasn't been good this year on defense, and like the bat hasn't always been there. It has been there every once in a while, but it's not consistent either. So it's not balancing anything out really. But if they want him in the lineup, then they got to find a way to not put him on the field, because it's not the errors he came in today still at -8 outs above average this season. Like, that's just still not good. And I mean, I don't know how that is measured, how that's added up, but obviously that's a lot, because they're only 60 plus, almost 70 games into the season, and that's a high number. I wonder if that even comes down to like they like Chris Morel in center and they want to keep him there as long as possible. But then
then play Simmons.
Yeah,
he's better defensively. It's not like Villar's hitting, like 450 or something.
No.
Like, stop with it. Like, stop telling us it's injuries and there's a lineup crunch. This team is 18 games under 500. You have guys you can move off the roster, and Villar is one of them, unfortunately. Like, again, I feel bad for the guy. He's had a pretty good major league career. He's been a good Major League Baseball player for a while. He's struggling this year, and it's not fair to him. It's not fair to the fans. It's certainly not fair to the young pitchers you keep marching out there and their confidence when they're trying to build their major league career. And you have a guy out there that clearly, when the ball's hit to him, he's panicking. Like, these are routine plays. Again, there's absolutely no reason to put him in the field right now. It's crazy.
And that doesn't even take into. I mean, that's just errors. And how many does he have on the year? I didn't keep track.
I don't have enough fingers.
He's
too many to count, bro.
8 or 9, something like that. But that also doesn't take into account just the misplays that end up being counted as hits, like the pop up that should have been his that he called everyone else. I don't remember what game it was, but was it Monday? I think it was Monday. And
the double plays he doesn't turn.
Yeah, just there's a lot of different things and maybe those like advanced defensive metrics can keep better track of it. I don't know how they work again, but just having him out there is just like a liability, because if the ball gets hit to him, then the confidence level that he makes a play has sunk so low that I mean, I'm not saying you're going to be surprised if he makes a routine play. They're routine plays for a reason, but it's just like you hold your breath as soon as the ball gets a ground ball to him over at second base, because like I guess today, just another error that ended up costing. I think Steele ended up giving up 2 runs that inning after that. Like it's a lot. It's pretty bad.
It's the two plays were the booted ball that Luke said, and then the very first one, I think we were still doing the CHGO podcast when it happened. So, but I had it on my TV right here to the side, and I saw
was a double play ball. I think
it was a double play ball, and I guess he just was unable to get the ball out of his glove or something, and then it led to Brian Hayes hitting a 2-run shot, and it's just like, if you get that double play there, you probably don't give up any runs. And it's just
you might still give up the home run, but I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. Still, it's less damage, and like that's what happens in the major leagues when you like give outs away like that, and like that's what just angers me so much. And I don't think this is gonna like affect Justin Steele's confidence or anything. Guys have he's been pitching very well. But it's like you look at the box scores. You go back and look at the box scores if you're him or something at the end of the year, and you look at some of these, and he's probably like, "How did this happen? Or how did this happen?" And I don't know. I just feel like it's mentally in a way it would bother me if I was the pitcher. I'm just saying, like, and Villar's kind of. It's hard to say it like this, but he's becoming like just a villain now within the Cubs fan base, and it's like similar with the Hayward stuff. Except he doesn't have a championship ring with the team or anything like that. He's been here for 2.5 months, and honestly, the last time that he showed really any real value was when the Cubs were in Colorado in April, and he had just an incredible series offensively there. That like since they left Colorado, the guy hasn't been able to hit consistently. The guy can't play any defense no matter where you put him. It's not just at second. It's at shortstop, too. We've seen it there. We've seen him have errors over at third base, too. Mm-hmm. You can't put him anywhere on the infield right now. You absolutely can't. And I just, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why or how. And I'm with Luke. Like, it's frustrating. He's had a very solid major league career. I will admit, when the Cubs signed him, I was like, "Oh, that's not a bad signing." Like, I didn't think he was gonna come in and take over the infield for the next 10 years. But I thought, okay, it's a nice little bridge spot until they figure out who's gonna play there in the future, I guess. But I thought he was at least gonna be, not a negative WAR player. At least, I thought he was gonna be a productive player that they could potentially move at the deadline. He can't even do that, man. It's been that bad, and that it's just so frustrating. I'm done. And Michael said in a chat earlier, he said pretty bad if Bodie is a savior. Well, it's like at least defensively, he at least from what we've seen from David Bodie over the course of his career is he's at least a better defensive player, and that's all I care about. If you're gonna play guys, like this offense is what it is, but if you're gonna play guys, at least don't give outs away. And like that's been the biggest problem with this team is they give outs away. They don't do the little things. Like one inning, I mean, Nico Horner had a great day today. He went 3 for 5, but he almost hit a homer in that hit. He should have ended up on third base the way that ball bounced of Swinsky's glove or whatever after he hit it. Ends up on second because he didn't hustle out of the box. It's just like the little things like that. If you're a bad team and you're not going to deal with the little things, you're going to lose ball games. And it's just is what it is. I'm done now.
Yeah, Steven on the chat took the words right out of my mouth, and it was a question. I was ready to ask, which bothers you more now? Which guy's worse? Is it Hayward or is it Villar? And again, this is not personal towards either guy. Both are struggling this season. I think the answer's super clear to me. Villar is more offensive on the field right now than Hayward. Hayward plays good defense. He does something well. He brings the leadership part of it, and that doesn't mean that Villar does not. But like Villar in the field is so bad, and his hitting, like we know Hayward doesn't hit, but defensively he's not bad. And at least he was a part of the team in the past. Again, I have no idea why they're playing Villar in the field over and over. If it's just like you want somebody to do something good, Simmons is better defensively. Put him in there. Just play Simmons. Forget the matchups because you're not increasing his trade value. So as Forrest Gump says, that's all I have to say about that. I can't do it anymore. But every game I say I can't do it anymore, and then he's in the lineup, and by the second inning we've got an error or a misplay, and you're just like,
yeah. I mean, you look at just even the stats. I mean, Hayward clearly plays better defense than Villar. I mean, he's lost a step, I think, but he's also the instincts that he has that made him a Gold Glove outfielder. Like, help him with that. He's definitely not a Gold Glove caliber outfielder anymore, but he still does that, at least to a serviceable level. Whereas obviously Villar has not been. But even if you want to try to balance it and say, oh, maybe Villar might be a better hitter than Jason Hayward. No, you go look at, I'm going to see how updated these are real quick. But if you go like even at their WRC plus stats, which, everyone that's like the be all end all of stats right now. I'm trying to pull these up. But last I checked, Hayward was only I think Hayward was at a 65 and Villar was at a 67. I think that was heading into today. So it's not good. Let me see if they've updated. Okay, yeah. So Villar is at 66. Jason Hayward's at 64 in WRC plus. So they're pretty much even offensively. So, it's just even saying like Villar could be a better offensive or a better bat. It doesn't really even hold weight at this point because they're pretty even on offensively so far this season.
And as far as, positives, I mean, I would again say that, sure, there's the comeback, but I still think, like Cody was saying, like Justin Steele deserved better in this game. This could have been his fourth really good start in a row. First of all, he went deep into the game, like pitch count wise. He went, what did he end up with? 90 something?
He had 100. And the good,
yeah.
the impressive part about that is that whereas he may have run out of gas in previous starts, I just kind of took a look at the velocities on him. Like that fastball, his four-seamer, his sinker, we're still sitting around the 92-ish range, which is about his average on the season. So that, those were still pretty close. It didn't look like he was losing gas, this whole season.
Right.
So, or losing gas like he has before this season. So that's obviously a good sign too, is if he can keep that, keep that velocity up through. He almost got through 6 innings today. That's regardless of he gave up a couple home runs, missed some pitches, obviously, not on the level as his 2-7 inning, 1 and run or less starts, but he definitely had is impressive in that you can see the development and he's keeping that the stamina's up. He's keeping the velocity up there. Maybe it's mechanical fixes that are helping him too. I don't know that for sure, but you can kind of see where he's starting to figure different things out in each start, whether it's going deeper into a game, whether it's being able to keep the velocity up as the pitch count rises, whether it's limiting hard contact. He's starting to put all those things together in different games. And now you definitely want to see him put more of those things together every outing, one outing at a time.
Yeah. Rachel says she's going to change your screen name to Justin Steele Deserves Better.
There you go.
I hear you, Rachel.
And it's not even the first start he's had this year where like the defense didn't help him out. Like this is just like the defensive problems the Cubs have had all season. It's just frustrating when you're trying to develop young pitching. Like you want these guys to be confident going into the second half of the year, at the end of the year, whatever, like going into the next season, you want these guys to develop, and you're just not helping them out with what we saw on the defensive side of the baseball today, man. It's just so frustrating. And you want me to spend some positivity on you. I guess the bullpen was pretty good today. Scott Effross deserved better today, even though the hit he gave up in that 10th inning, I mean, it was a blooper. No one was going to catch that. I don't even think Rizzo would have caught that ball that Rivas almost had.
Yeah.
That is what it is. Today's the day the Cubs lost because of the runner on second base rule, so I hate the rule today. We'll see if I like it or don't like it the next time it happens. But again, I'm not even mad about the result of how the game ended. It's just really about how the game played out, because the Pirates should have never had. Well, they ended up with 8, but they shouldn't have even got to the 6 runs before Steele came out, in my opinion. I think he would have given if without those errors, I think it would have been like 3 or 4 runs, and at least that's more manageable. At least it would have been 4-2 instead of 6-2 going into the mid to late innings. You know what I mean? It's just you're thinking positively as a fan, and probably as a ball player too, if you're only down a few runs going into the middle of the late innings compared to 4 runs. And you know what I mean? Jose Quintana, he's going to shove against us the rest of his career. It's stupid. I hate it.
I'm not an analytics guy like Cody, but when you make 4 errors in a game, I don't think your winning percentage is very high. That's all I know. And it was an embarrassing game from a major league perspective that you can commit 4 errors, and frankly, it could have been 5. So to me, that was the whole story of the game. Cody, how did your bets fare better than your baseball team?
Well, I bet on the Cubs today, like I said on my pick of the week last night, and so I lost that one, but I did win a parlay today. Dodgers -1.5, Marlins money line, and Braves money line. Was it odds at like +415 or something like that? Won $25. Thank you very much. Gambling's easy and fun when you win. I don't know how else to really say it. Anyway, I made those bets. Or made that bet over on PointsBet. My favorite app. It's my favorite app I love to open every morning when I wake up and get out of bed, or even when I just lay in bed because I don't want to get out of it, because I love looking at the lines. It's also the best way to support CHGO. If you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up, you can do that right now. You get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. Your home for live and play betting just got even better. See an edge in the game you were watching. Is your favorite team prime for a comeback? If anyone bet the Cubs money line live today, I'm so sorry. That's a brutal beat. Don't just watch the game, bet along with it live. More live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs. Follow along with your bets the moment they hit and stay in the live action all game long. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants to help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
I need to tell kids about Owen, Only What You Need. It's a 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition and works as hard as you do. All their products are free of artificial ingredients, allergen-friendly, no gluten, no dairy, easily digestible. And, I heard about it, that Justin Fields was doing this plant-based diet. I didn't think I could ever start doing something like that. This is step number one. He starts off with little Owen, and Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase, and that's at liveowen or liveowen.com, liveown.com. The code CHGO20. Join me, Justin Fields, and try Owen, only what you need. They've got a bunch of different flavors. You can get it shipped to your house. There's strawberry banana, there's chocolate, there's vanilla. I believe there's a salted caramel. That sounds pretty good. It's step number one in my road to recovery. The Cubs have forced me into binge eating, and now I can only count on my athletic greens and my Owen to try and rebuild the gut health, get some proper protein in there, plant-based protein, and see if I can go from there. The sweets, they're stopping today. They're stopping today.
Oh,
This
really?
This is the one that does it. 18 games under.
All right.
That's it. I'm
On
cutting
June
it off.
23rd.
I stopped the sweets and I ate like a ton of ramen noodles. So I'm just piling on the carbs instead.
You're carb
But-
loading, but you could. But
I was-
eventually you could
I
play
was-
that into running the marathon.
You
Yeah,
know
join
that
marathon that Moriano's doing.
Yeah, I'm good. But you know that that screen grab of Michael Scott, like he was about to do a marathon or some sort of race, but he like eats this big thing of pasta like right
Fettuccine
beforehand.
Alfredo. Yeah,
I
yeah.
tweeted that out because like it was right after VR had like his second air. I was like, God, this guy's he's forcing me to eat. I'm just like, I'm so mad and I'm so sad because of the Chicago Cubs. And here I am just making ramen noodles because the Cubs.
The Cubs.
Yeah, you're talking about Michael Scott's Dunder Mifflin Scranton Meredith Palmer Memorial Celebrity Rabies Awareness Pro-Am.
Yes.
Fun-run race for the cure.
Yes.
So good.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what you're talking about. Blue, before we move on, I got a couple quick updates from out of Pittsburgh. So I guess the one we saw right there at the end of the game with Ke'Bryan Hayes. I guess I didn't pay close enough attention as I was trying to, hop onto our stream. The Pirates.com reporter, Justice De Los Santos, says Ke'Bryan Hayes is currently being evaluated. He appeared to ram his left shoulder into Contreras on the slide home. And then a little update. Derek Shelton, the manager, didn't believe there was anything dirty on Contreras' part. I don't think so either, but I guess I just maybe didn't pay attention. So he's being evaluated. And just as someone that really likes baseball, like you don't want to see a young player that's that good kind of go down on just something freaks, just something accidental like that. I know Cody's still mad about the Nico Horner umpire thing, but you definitely don't want to see that. And the other update, I got this from Maddie Lee. David Ross said bullpen coach Chris Young felt lightheaded in the bullpen. They got him checked out at the hospital and he's going to be all right. That was the delay during the first inning. Ross commended the umpires, Pirates, for their patience and help. So, yeah, Chris Young, bullpen coach. Sounds like everything's going to be good. But that, like we were kind of talking about once we got off the CHGO show earlier, what the delay was. I guess that's kind of the update.
Okay.
Just as far as what happened there.
Well, that's good to know. We should probably take care of who you got since we forgot it the other day.
I think I won it the other day.
This was a pretty close one. Like we each had a decent game, really. Nobody picked VR, so we were good there. I had Wisdom, who was 2 for 5 with an RBI, but an error in the field. Velasquez, 1 for 2 with a run scored and a walk. So he was also on base twice.
It was a double, too.
It was
with
a
an
double.
insane slide. Javi Baez-esque.
Good slide. And then Nico was 3 for 5, 2 RBIs, 2 runs, and an error. He also had an error in the field, a rare throwing error.
Rare.
I'd probably give it to – I think it's probably Nico with the 2 RBIs, 2 runs.
Yeah, it's 2 RBIs, tied the game, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably
Nico. Down 1. They brought it down 1, and then it was Rivas had the 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it could have. I mean, if somebody had Rivas, that it might have been Rivas, but our three guys, you could either give it a point to everybody or you go Ryan with Horner. Is that
I
fair?
go Horner. I give it to myself.
We're
Listen,
not
All
surprised.
right, fine.
I won the one on Tuesday too, right? The one we just conveniently
I
forgot
don't
about.
remember. I don't remember
Pretty
that
sure.
one.
It was wasn't it just like Hap versus Morel on like doubles, and I think Hap had like a walk or something like that. What's the updated score, Cody?
What
What do we got?
10?
I think it's 10-8 to 6.
That sounds right. 10-8,
Is that
6.
including today?
Yeah, that includes. Yeah, that includes
something
today.
up here.
Who won last night? I know we talked about it, but I think we talked about it off air.
I think Luke ended up winning.
I
'cause that's
believe
the one
I won, yeah.
Oh yeah, so yeah, and he had 5, so now he has 6. Okay, cool.
Is that the one you didn't put anyone in, or was that on?
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot to
Cody
send
could have
one.
won, but he
because I probably would
he
have
flexed and decided he wasn't going to take somebody.
Yeah, I'm too good for
There
you
you go.
guys. At least last night on a random Wednesday, I was too
There
good
you
for
go,
you.
Dave. Dave says Nico wins today, so
Okay.
Hey, can
got
you
the
guys
support.
see
Hashtag
this?
Team Ryan.
I've been trying to figure this out the entire chat. I was like, first I thought Ryan Shirt was the chest protector of the Pirates catcher.
Mhm.
Can you? He's Tony
Oh,
the
yeah.
Tiger. He's Tony the
Yeah.
Tiger from
There's your
Frosted
Tigers.
Flakes. Put
There's
the
your
platoon
Tigers,
part down
baby.
and tell me that's not Tony the Tiger. Oh, now I got it. Here.
Yeah,
Right there.
it looks like it. Yeah,
I mean,
like
it
that
looks
big,
100
too.
right there. If I just do just the head, that's Ryan.
Oh
in person.
god. Oh my goodness.
They're
That is
great.
Yeah, MIZ. Where's Jedi of Chicago? He's a Tiger with me too. I don't know where he is.
Katie thought the same thing on the chat.
So just to talk a little bit more about the game, I guess. What did you guys think about Velasquez today?
I thought he was
I
good.
thought
good at
I thought he
bats.
showed showed some progress. I love the slide going into second base on the
Yeah.
double. I won't lie, I was a little irked that Rossi pinch hit Ortega in the 8th inning for him after they got the 2 runs. Ortega walked, so whatever, but I don't know, I just would have liked to see what he could have done in a big spot there, and he has the power. He could have hit one out. And I also just didn't want to see him come out of the game. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, I don't want to sit here and complain about why they only play him against lefties. Yesterday, he did get in a bat against a right-handed pitcher, or it might have been today too. I don't know, but he's not starting against righties at least, and I just don't really understand why. But hopefully this is a start to, I don't know, maybe they'll start playing him more just because he had a good day.
Here's what I think.
he had good at bat. Oh, go ahead, Luke.
I was just going to say, like, when the trade deadline is gone or when Hayward is DFA'd, whichever one comes first, and I think one of them is going to happen. At least the trade deadline's coming. I think your outfield is Happ in left, Morel in center, Suzuki in right, and Velasquez is your 4th outfielder. He's the guy that gets some playing time. Now, and that's assuming Hayward's gone. If it's not that, and Happ is also traded, then it's Frazier for me in left. It's Morel in center, and it's Suzuki in right with Velasquez kind of moving in with Frazier maybe in left field and kind of substituting there or some sort of order. You can work it around. I think Ortega's probably gone.
You could also DH him.
Yeah, you could also DH him, but I just want to see him. I want to see him get fairly regular playing time the rest of the season. Why not?
Yeah.
I want to see Frazier get some playing time. I'm sorry. I want to see Jackson Frazier get some playing time. And I want to see Velasquez get some playing time.
Yeah. I think that's like literally, if there's anything that the Cubs fan base agrees with right now, it's that. It's just to see those 2 guys play. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it'll probably be more so after the trade deadline. It's just wasting valuable time, at bats. You know what I mean? And like that, like I don't care if he, we see him play for a month in June and he's average. Like it's all about getting the guy experience so you can go into next season with him with some some sort of idea of what you're going to get, like the guy's shown that he has major power at the minor league level. I don't really know a lot about how he measures defensively, but if you have a corner outfielder with power like that, there's value there. There's that's someone, that's a guy. But it's just like we're really not going to know how good of a baseball player he can be until after trade deadline, and we just shouldn't have to wait that long. It's literally pointless whenever you're 18 games under 500.
Yeah, and I go back to like Frazier, like that will take a little bit more maneuvering with the 40-man and stuff because after the DFA, he's not on the 40-man, whatever. So that may take a little longer. But if Velasquez is up for any extended period of time, it's like it's worth giving him a look. And Morel did the same thing, and Morel earned his way into the starting lineup by just being really, really good for the first couple weeks of the season, or of his when he was called up. If Velasquez can get that shot, there's no one saying that he can't do the same thing. There's nothing that says, just from his track record, that he can't come up and produce really well given consistent starts or consistent playing time every day while he's up. So while he's up, I don't know if, like you said, Luke, he should be a fourth outfielder when Suzuki comes back, but just kind of seeing the way that the whole season has played out, I think he probably gets optioned back to AAA, where he's been very good this year already. That's the reason why he's been called up multiple times now. But while he's here, I think there needs to be more than just. And we said it with Frazier the last time, and I don't think things are going to change much unless he really does something that gets him into the starting lineup for a while. I just think we could say that we want to see Velasquez starting every day and getting as much playing time as possible. I just don't know that that's going to happen, and that's what's disappointing about it. Just because we've seen that with the Clint Frazier stuff, and maybe it's a different story with him. I just get the feeling that Velasquez, again, it's not technically a cup of coffee because he wasn't only up for a day, and he's not only going to be up for a day, but it's also like he didn't come up with just consistent run to start every day and like, hey, sink or swim, right? You're not throwing him in the deep end and seeing how he fares. It's kind of like, it's not a consistent. It is a chance per se, but it's not a chance. He's not coming up and getting thrown in there and seeing how he does.
I just think, with Brendan Davis clearly not coming to the big leagues this season after back surgery, you have to somehow make the most of that opportunity for somebody. Like Brendan Davis would have taken that spot in the outfield and been getting serious playing time. That void is there now, and there's nothing you can do about it. His back, he had surgery, he's recovering. He's not magically going to appear in your outfield, your number one prospect this season. So take another outfield prospect and give them that opportunity. Give someone that playing time and see if they can, like you said, turn it into another Christopher Morel. But Morel is so unique because you can play him all over the place, and you don't have to have him just in center field. But whether it's Velasquez or Frazier or both, I want to see them play a lot the rest of the season because that playing time probably was going to Brendan Davis. It's not anymore. It's open. And if Happ is traded and Hayward is DFA'd, there's plenty of opportunities out there. So try and find a silver lining in what was a really bad injury for your number one prospect overall. And, it kind of leads me into our next topic, which is another top prospect, young player in the Cubs organization suffering another injury and another surgery. It's been a brutal 365 days for Cubs prospects if you don't count Keegan Thompson and Justin Steele as prospects anymore. Ethan Roberts now, he came up, showed some promise early in the season, but now he just had Tommy John surgery. You had Cody Hoyer, who was supposed to potentially be even your closer this season, have Tommy John surgery in March. The Brendan Davis back surgery, the Ed Howard hip surgery. Those are two number one picks. Miguel Amaya, Tommy John surgery back in November. And Braylon Marquez, who was once your number one prospect, had COVID into shoulder impingement, and he hasn't really pitched since 2019, and I still haven't heard when the heck he's coming back. So
he pitched in 2020, but
yeah, a little bit. But in reality, he hasn't been pitching a lot since 2019. right?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's
exactly.
like that list is a list of some of your very top prospects, especially before you made any of those trades. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Regarding Ethan Roberts, it was brutal to hear about today. One, because he seems like a really good dude. I remember the stories in spring training when he got the call or got promoted, whatever you want to call it. And it was just a nice story considering all the negative stories we've heard about the Cubs since the trade deadline of last year. And the fact that he was yet again another homegrown Cubs pitcher taken in the 2018 draft. Now going to be out probably, I would assume, until 2024. And I just it's in a way, it's not the biggest deal because I'm not worried about the Cubs when it comes to finding bullpen talent. Like, yeah, they might have to go. I'm not going to say go and spend a ton of money on their bullpen, but they need to go find a few more Rowan Wick types or whatever. I mean, remember how they got Rowan Wick out of nowhere? I mean, even the Andrew Chafin, Ryan Tepera, like they're, I don't want to even say marquee names, but they're bigger names now because they came to the Cubs and earned themselves big contracts. But they're going to have to go find some other guys to kind of take space of those guys going into next year, because we still won't see Cody Hoyer until, at the earliest June or July next year, right? Like we really don't know. And it's a brutal hits, man. Like it, and it goes back to what we've talked about with how everything just went so perfect for them in the first rebuild. It did when it came to just guys developing, not getting hurt, stuff like that. Like the biggest injury the Cubs suffered during the 15, 16 years was Kyle Schwarber tearing his ACL. I mean, and then they had enough depth that it really didn't matter, at least in the regular season, to make the playoffs, and you know how it all ended. But like during the rise of it, you didn't even see this many injuries. Like nothing like this. So I hope, for the franchise's sake, that the front office recognizes, like, hey, like, we can't just like rely on some of these guys to like fill a hole. Like, you gotta fill that hole with something. You know what I mean? Like, and again, as far as Cody Hoyer, Ethan Roberts, it's not that it's not the biggest deal, but it's something that it won't be the biggest priority for them to fix right out of going in the offseason, because they do have guys in Iowa that are, have shown some promise. Brian Hudson is one name that's down there right now. Ben Leeper, we talked about with other prospect guys. Just that's just two. And like I said, they've done very well developing the bullpen through the system and just, through free agent signings that are worth like the veteran minimum. It's not really costing them any money. So that's, again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just like these other ones, though, like Brennan Davis and Ed Howard, like just slowing that development. It's brutal. So I just hope the front office sees that they can't just rely on these prospects that come up and put the Cubs in the position to win and then spin. Like they need to fill these holes this offseason in a big way, and like at least have some sort of plan just in case there's more injuries to come, Does
it teeter your opinion in a direction one way or another? I brought this up again when Brendan Davis had the back surgery. I mean, that again, the list is Ethan Roberts, Cody Hoyer, Brendan Davis, Ed Howard, Miguel Amaya, Braylon Marquez, and all of those guys are that's 6 highly thought of prospects. With the trade deadline coming, if you're playing Jed Hoyer, does it impact your thought process at all when you see that many of your young prospects? Is it just one more reminder that you can never have enough? Would this impact your decision at all if you were teetering with the idea of an Ian Happ trade or a Kyle Hendricks trade or whoever that fringe trade that's right on or Stroman, whoever the guy is that you're thinking, you know what, I'm not going to go that far because I don't want to tear it all the way down to the studs again. We've said it 100 times, like you got to keep some of these guys. But this is also a reminder that prospects are prospects and guys get injured and you cannot have enough depth in your organization. Does this influence that at all?
Well, I think it's a very kind of funny balance of that, because like what you're saying is like, yeah, you kind of want to have as many good prospects as you can, because things are going to happen, injuries are going to happen, guys just won't work out. But then on the flip side, it's like when you have guys who were prospects at one point come up in the major leagues, but you also see like you can't just rely on prospects completely. You can't just rely on prospects and hoping they come up and be something special, because when you have guys, again, there's only 26 guys on a major league roster, and there's hundreds in the minor leagues, maybe like 100. I don't know exactly how many players are in the Cubs system, but you see that not every prospect in there is going to come up and be an impact major league player. So on the one side, it's like, yeah, you want to have as many good prospects as you want to limit the chance that they just don't hit, because then you have more coming or more that could hit, right? But then on the other hand, it's like, if you have good major league players, don't you want to keep some of them and not just completely rely on prospects and hope that prospects can come up and be special? Like you have, Wilson Contreras, he's going to get you really good prospects, but he's a 30-year-old all-star catcher who, now that the DH is in both leagues, that's probably going to extend his career a little more. That bat's going to play a few more years just because he doesn't have to catch every day anymore. And so it's like that. It's Ian Happ, who's having a career year. And yeah, you can also say like, hey, he hasn't ever proven it over 162 throughout his career. But at the same time, it's like, this is really the first time he's gotten to play one consistent position every day, consistent at bats, all that stuff. So maybe this is Ian Happ, who has, more structured routine, more structured playing time, more structured positioning, and what he needs to work on pregame and between games, stuff like that. So those two guys are good. Contreras mostly is obviously a very good, proven all-star caliber catcher, all-star caliber player. Ian Happ is showing that he can do it and do it with the best of them. He's top 5 in NL outfielders in a lot of different categories. It's just sometimes you get to the point where it's like, you traded a lot of good players for prospects already, and those prospects look good, and eventually some of them will come up and be good in the major leagues. But I just feel like you can't trust all of them. You can't just completely go all in on trusting prospects just to hope that they turn into Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber. Because we talked about it yesterday. Like, they hit.
They're prospects.
Oh my God, that was like an unreal run of like first round prospects hitting, right? That doesn't happen that often. So I don't know. I don't even know if it, like, to answer your question, I don't know if it sways me either way if I'm Jed Hoyer, because it's just and maybe it's just me being in my own head. It's like I'm so in the middle of like, you got to try to find a way to balance the two, and just trading away every major league guy worth any value for a prospect is, in my opinion, is just not the way to go. But it does seem like that's the way things are trending.
Again, I think that the only way that I could talk myself into thinking moving, our top 2 chips, which would definitely be Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras, is if you get guys who can play next year. That's the only way that I will, at least find a way to talk myself into thinking that the future is bright. But if they trade for 18-year-olds like they did in the Darvish trade and they did in the Rizzo trade and the Baez trade, then, we're going to be doing this podcast for 3 years before the Cubs are good again. Like that's just what it's going to be. And, in a way, at least we don't have to sit here and ask ourselves, is it a rebuild or not anymore? But at the same time, it's like, this, like I've said before, the organization should not be running this way or running that way, at least. So, yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with adding prospects. It's just more about, you got to have good prospects at every level. I feel like we got a lot of great prospects in Myrtle Beach and South Bend right now. You got some decent ones in Tennessee as well, but like not nearly as many as you do in South Bend and Myrtle Beach. So it's just like, I don't know. To me, you gotta get some guys who can come up. And the one thing that Contreras has over Rizzo, Bryant, and Baez, at least this year, is he's having a better year than all three of those guys did last year. So, if you think theoretically the way you think about it, they should get an absolute haul for Wilson Contreras. But if you think about deals at the deadline over the last, I don't know, 5 years, it's not like you're seeing the Jose Quintana trade anymore. It's not like you're seeing the trade, the either oldest Chapman trade for Gleyber Torres trade anymore. Like, you don't see a lot of like just one-sided trade flips or prospect flips like that. Like that. That's why I've sat on the side of like thinking that the Yu Darvish trade was good, because even though they didn't get guys who could play right away, they got guys who are young, or they got guys who were young but are highly touted too. So I don't know what the trade market will look like, but I just know that teams aren't operating like they did, 5, 6, 7 years ago, as like at the deadline. Like today, they're not doing it like they were 5 to 7 years ago. So I think that's also something that fans have to like realize, because remember at the deadline last year, everyone thought all the moves that the Cubs made for those three guys and Kimbrel were awful. Like, at least the social media reaction to it, on top of just being sad that all of them were gone. Like, not a lot of people had any high hopes for any of these guys. And we've seen PCA break out this year. We've seen Alcantara break out this year. Killian was playing very well in Iowa before coming up to the Cubs, and he's getting some major league experience. Canario looks like someone who's at least going to have a lot of power in his career. Like, we've seen things out of those guys. So to me, it's there is some upside. There's a lot of upside. It's just, again, prospects are prospects. You don't know, but
Yeah, and Cody, a little bit of what you're saying they need, and I agree with you, is somebody that's major league ready, and you're hoping for a top prospect. And it's a little bit, with the way baseball operates, that's a little bit of a magic unicorn. It's like if some team has a true superstar type prospect, a really, really good prospect that's at AAA, and they're competing for a playoff spot or think they're going to go win the World Series, they most likely promote that guy as their move without going and making a move. And unless he's blocked by like multiple players at a position somehow, like if he happens to be a third base prospect, if he's blocked by somebody like Nolan Arenado, then you probably aren't going to bring him up, but they still might bring him up as a bench piece. So it's real tricky to find that guy. And, I think it's going to be surprising if they do get somebody that's ready to go right away next season. Like Cody Hoyer was a guy that was ready to go, was at the major league level. Like, you could get somebody that's a piece of their team, but not a big piece of their team, and was a better prospect maybe the year before. But I think what all Cub fans are hoping for will be difficult for the Cubs to get, no matter how good the players that they're trading, because teams don't want to part with those players anymore. Just like you said, they value that cheap player that can turn into a star and play for a small amount of money for a long time, because that's how you build a franchise that wins for a little stretch of time. That's why the Cubs wrote it out with those guys for a while, because they weren't costing the big contract yet. When they did, they moved on. So
yeah,
it's not going to be easy. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I want fans to realize that they're, even for Contreras, it might feel underwhelming if they move him. Like, I am prepared to be not only sad, but also pessimistic about the return as well. Like, I'm prepared for it. And then we'll see what we'll see next year, if they can play next year, if they're young guys and they start well and wherever they're at, like, then maybe I'll change my mind. But I'm like I said, I'm prepared to be underwhelmingly pessimistic about the return for Contreras, because he's a catcher mainly, and and whoever's getting him they're only getting him for the rest of the season. That's it, unless they want to extend him, but they're not going to do that until after the year. So it's just, again, that just brings me back to why the Cubs should just keep Contreras.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? We should probably send Jed Hoyer, Carter Hawkins, the front office, any scouts. We should start sending over Strava to them, just so their head is clear going into the end of the season, so we really know what's going on. Strava CBD coffee, that's a game changer. It's helped thousands of people improve their overall wellness and quality of life, delivering delicious, fresh roasted
Ooh.
specialty coffee infused with organic broad spectrum CBD. And CBD from hemp doesn't make you high, doesn't make you hungry, but it offers real benefits that can help you. Jed Hoyer, feel alert and focused without the jitters. Sounds good to me. Live your day more balanced, less anxiety, fewer aches and pains, plus including CBD in your daily routine can even help you enjoy a more restful sleep so you wake up feeling your best, something we want the Cubs front office to do as they get ready to make big decisions. Strava is all about quality, everything small batch, fresh and shipped straight to your door. And CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase using the code CHGO25. That's 25% off the entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use the code CHGO25 at checkout. Discount coupon valid on non-subscription purchases only. One use per customer. And if you already love Strava, like one Cody Delmendo, go ahead and subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. With Strava, you're in control. Save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule. Sounds like a game changer. Jed, look into it. We send him a little shipment, Cody, or maybe you just send him just a little taste.
Yeah.
Help you out.
Send him a little taste, and he'll sleep better at night. And that could be a good or a bad spinzo. If I help him sleep better at night and he makes moves that we don't like, then he'll sleep better knowing that.
You want him having nightmares?
If he makes moves that we don't like, then yeah, I kind of want him to, feel some pain, like feel the same pain I'll be feeling. But not that I wish pain on anyone, but you know what I mean. Like I just kind of want
just a little.
I just want them to know that, like, the way that things are coming, or the way things are perceived from the outside right now is not great, and they know that. But also, like, we're not gonna I don't think a lot of us are going to sit here and deal with it either. Like, we will, but not a lot of fans will. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yep. All right, let's look
Shout
ahead
out
to
to
the next
Michael in
series,
the
because
comments.
Ryan, you're heading to St. Louis.
I am
right
heading
into
to
the
St.
old
Louis.
Lions den, heading back to Missouri. And
I'll only be 2
Kyle
hours
Hendricks,
away from the homeland.
Yeah,
I'll be
you
2
can't wear
hours away
that
from
there.
the homeland.
Kyle Hendricks, 4 1/3 innings last time out, 6 earned runs. His ERA 5.43 now. And I didn't see if the Cardinals beat the Brewers. It looked like the Brewers had come back, but you're 13 or 14 games behind St. Louis at this point. Can we see something out of Kyle Hendricks that gives us some hope that, this isn't, I've heard a lot of talk about Kyle Hendricks this season. And I think the one thing that really nailed it for me, I can't remember who made the comment, I apologize, but they were talking about just he's transitioning into the second half of his career. He's not the same pitcher he was. His pinpoint control was so great that he got away with, not having a super fast fastball or a huge breaking ball or something like that. But everything deteriorates a little bit. And, again, we always didn't really compare him to Greg Maddux, but he's a similar type pitcher in that way. And Maddux even threw faster, in his prime. But you saw Greg Maddux, the back half of his career. Is Kyle Hendricks now a 4 or 5 in a rotation instead of a 1, 2, or 3? And will we have that answer by the end of the season if he's still on the Cubs?
I think like you said, it's trending that way. Just, he's 32 and 31, 32 now. Like, he's never been a guy that was going to blow anything past hitters, but it was always the command, the elite command that he had, that made him a Cy Young caliber pitcher. And he just hasn't had that in the last, year and a half now. Except for, he had that small, we talked about it before, that small, it was a decent chunk of last season, and probably in like May, June-ish time, when he looked like he could be an all-star caliber starter, and then kind of things went really haywire back half of the season. And this season has been up and down for him. He's had a few good ones. That Padres start,
Both
back in
Padres
May.
starts.
Yeah, both Padres starts with that 8 2/3 in San Diego it looked like Kyle Hendricks of old, but he's also had a few really bad starts. I do think that we're kind of seeing where Kyle Hendricks isn't the ace of a staff anymore. I think he could still be a really good pitcher if he's able to bring the control consistently and establish the things he wants to establish. Excuse me. That the fastball down and away, whatever he goes into every game doing, because that fastball is good, and when he can control it, when he can locate it, like that's why he gets so much weak contact. But that just hasn't been there all year. And so if he can get that consistently, I think he could still be a really productive piece of a rotation. I don't think he's going to be 2016 Cy Young, even 2020, guy making a run at All-Star, making a run at Cy Young Award. But I do think that there's still a place for Kyle on a winning rotation, even if it is the 4th or 5th spot on the rotation. Like he could still be a very serviceable starter. Like you said, entering the second half of his career.
Yeah, and I heard Steve Stone talking about him, and while he admitted he hadn't watched Kyle very intently or closely the last couple of years, he did make a good point about that. He's always heard that Kyle Hendricks, obviously is a very cerebral pitcher as well, and he's always been thought of around the league, and with people that know him, they all talk about how he's willing to share that knowledge with younger pitchers. Like he actually seeks them out, sort of like John Lester's doing even in retirement now, helping out Justin Steele. But I'm not saying in a Jason Hayward role. I think he still has value on the team, and I do think that he can help the Keegan Thompsons, the Justin Steeles, the young pitchers coming up. I think he wants to help those guys, and I think he would help those players coming up. So, again, that's another player that I don't know if you're going to get. I don't know if a trade there at the trade deadline is going to be worth it for the Cubs. Like, I don't know if his value right now to another team, although there will be some because he's had postseason success, and he give a team some depth. I just don't know if the return would be enough that I would want to give up the value he could give you at the back end of a rotation with his experience moving forward. So I'd like to see him have a good game against the Cardinals.
Well, lucky for you, Stucky, and Jack R said it in the chat earlier. He's been pretty good in St. Louis in his career. He almost threw a no-hitter there once. He also threw a Maddox against them at Wrigley once. That was cool. He's had some great moments against the Cardinals, but this Cardinals team's really good. I won't hold my breath with this defense that's behind him and him being a pitch-to-contact guy. Honestly, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm glad that me and Stucky don't have to do tomorrow's game. Congratulations, Corey and Brendan. Thank you. Ryan, I'm sorry that you have to go to that shitty, boring city where literally the only thing that is to do in that city is to go to Ballpark Village and drink Busch Lights, and that's really about it. That's literally the only thing fun to do in that city. So have fun with that when you're not at the ballpark.
I'm going to have to pack light. I'm going to have to wash my shorts and make sure I'm like trying to stay cool down there. But
shorts or jorts? If you want to fit in, it's jorts.
Well, you will fit in if you get some jorts.
I don't want to fit in St. Louis. I don't need to fit in there. I lived less than 2 hours from there for 5 years of my life. I don't need to fit in there.
I too lived less than 2 hours from there when I was in college, so I know what you mean.
Yeah. I was actually going to say before we hop off, I didn't realize how good my Who You Got pick was today. Did you realize Horner's, all 5 of the balls he put in play were hard hit balls? Only one had less than 300 expected batting average. Like, just in general, he's hitting the ball crazy. Like 88.2 miles per hour coming in on the season, like average exit velocity. That was coming in. That's by far the highest of his career. And then 5 more hard hit balls today. Like, he's, even if we said it before with him, like even if the box score results aren't there, he's doing some damage to the ball, more damage than he usually does. Maybe he's just kind of getting unlucky, but he's having himself a really good. I mean, he's still hitting 280 something. He's having himself a really good season.
He had a good game, and I know I ragged on him earlier because I thought that almost homer he had should have been a triple, but he still hit it hard. And again, he should be. He's one reason why there should not be a 3 to 4 year rebuild. You know what I mean? Like, There's a handful more of reasons, but like he's one of them. Like they found whether it's their shortstop next year or their second baseman next year, he's gonna be one of them.
Yeah,
So.
and he did have an error, Ryan, but we won't hold that against you because he's been so good defensively. 99% of the season he's been really good
the
out
exact opposite of Jonathan Villar. The exact opposite.
Yes. I mean, he's hitting the ball like he's really been I'd say Happ and Horner have been really, really pleasant surprises this season, right? You probably had some questions about both guys, and I think both have delivered. The Cubs did not, however. 8-7 in 10 innings. They lose again. 18 games under the 500 mark. Ryan, safe travels to St. Louis. We'll be looking for your reports. Allchgo.com. Make sure you get a membership, sign up so you can get all of Ryan's content from St. Louis. See it there. Follow him on Twitter. And we will see you again. The game is on Apple TV too. And then you have
another pro for me and Stucky.
Corey and Brendan will have the recap for you here on CHGO. Cubs lose 8-7 in 10 innings. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. Have a great start to the weekend, I guess, on Friday. Cody and I will start it early.